but China and Mexico pretty quick to bend the knee on this, as Trump announced, that both of them got off the phone, announced a 30-day pause, basically a 30-day suspension of the newly proposed tariffs on imports from Mexico and Canada. This decision follows agreements with both nations to enhance border security and combat the trafficking of fentanyl into the U.S., and I think that's fucking cool. Mexico has committed to deploying 10,000 National Guard members to its northern border to curb the flow of illegal drugs, particularly fentanyl, into the U.S. In return, the U.S. has agreed to work on preventing trafficking of high-powered weapons into Mexico. Similarly, Canada has pledged to reinforce its border with new technology and personnel, appointed a Fentanyl Czar, designated cartels as terrorist organizations, and established a joint strike force with the U.S. to combat organized crime and criminal money laundering. This is pretty big. So basically, he wants to make it more than just a trade war. This is actually like trying to be, a war on drugs, right? War on fentanyl. And I know, this really affected a lot of people, and, I've lost some friends to it. So it's great to see. Meanwhile, China, is now we're kind of looking at China preparing a proposal and reinstatement of the 2020 Phase 1 trade deal, aiming to prevent further tariff hikes and technology restrictions. This proposal includes commitments to increase purchases of American goods and services to reduce exports of fentanyl persecutors. So, as the global trade landscape shapes, all eyes are basically on this China and Xi meeting coming up tomorrow. How will they navigate and renewed trade negotiations here with the United States? This is basically what we're looking for here. And, what is, are they going to, this is probably why we had, let's look at wheat. What happened here with wheat today? Because I think wheat being the short leg here, we did see this down. We did get down to that, little bit through that gold line that I was talking about yesterday, but you know what? We had that 4-hour bars. This is why you have to have confirmation in your bars to confirm. I know I've pointed this out in my other videos. So I look on a closing basis because, if we violated this level and closed below this, we're going to have momentum forward. We triggered that down through, but was not able to sustain that. You see this is a nice long wick candle going back up in there. And then so we have like a little small fair value gap, and we bought back into that 50. I know I was saying 10 on my other video, but little dyslexics went there. But anyways, we saw a nice little pop in wheat, because we could see a little bit of sino buying of wheat if this Phase 1 deal goes through. So something to watch there. Also, let's just check back on these beans levels as well. We did get through that green level, but then again, we are looking a little bit stronger ever since the overnight here. I mean, looking at these 4-hour bars, yeah, this is going to be pretty interesting to see if, my thesis was that the longs were going to get longer on this dip. It pretty was a shallow dip. So if we could see next couple days to see if we can close above that 1060 level now, it's going to be pretty interesting to watch, especially because this is this one on the day here. Yeah, that 1060 level is going to be very interesting to see if we can't get a close above that. If we close above that this week, as you see, open interest is kind of trading out there. But yeah, 1071 resistance, and we're still looking at that 1032 now for support. And last but certainly not least, the star of the show today, right? Not really, but corn. Look at that monster daily bar. We go down the 4-hour bar. Gaps were filled. Yeah, so it's going to be important. That 490, 485, 480 level now. We were saying that 475, 470 was support last night, and we kind of held right to it. I thought we were going to stay a little bit longer in between this green and purple, but with that quick knee bends from Mexico and China, we saw commodities saw this as a positive. Especially, you heard news headlines this morning saying that China was possibly in talks about resuming that Phase 1 purchasing agreements, the phase one trade deal that they started back in 2018. So, but they came up short there. They were still buying it, when it made sense to them. So this is something to watch and monitor, especially, with corn, because I think corn could have a lot to gain from this, more than beans almost. So, and maybe this is why we saw that huge July call spread position trade, a few months ago. And then, there were some more advocates here. But it clearly shows, the funds were on a losing side here, but it's really hard to trade against a hot hand. This hand has been, really hard to fade. And this is why I called that the funds would get even longer going into today. And that out surprised my expectations.